Did you know dogs can't operate MRI machines?
God, I just had one of those too. Why not?
Well, they can't, but cats can. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Brand Coverage. I'm Brandon Carney alongside Pat Gustafson. Pat, you just recently had a CAT scan? Is that you have some personal...
Last Monday, yes,
Nice.
I did have a CAT scan.
How'd it go?
Not good.
Not good?
As you might
Okay,
imagine.
great.
I made a joke to the pretty CAT scan lady that it went better than my last dog scan. She didn't think it was that funny.
Okay, so
but she did say she, quote, felt bad for me.
Well, I mean, that's better than not feeling bad for you. It's better than being like, hey, get fucked, you fucking broke back loser. So I guess that's good. But no, Pat's got a personal connection to today's dad joke. We love that. Yeah. Folks, welcome back to the podcast. We've got plenty to go over, as we always do. Let's see. Our teams this week. First things first, our home league, Pat. I am officially eliminated from playoff contention. This is the most violin necessary moment of the season. In hindsight, I've looked at many things. I've talked about it throughout the season on the pod as for what has gone wrong. It boils down mostly, I would argue, 80+% to Brian Thomas Jr. It's mostly his fault because my buddy.
I have my own theory, but you keep going.
That's fair. I'll let you expand in a minute. Our buddy Gary texted me the other day and was like, "Look how gross the third round of our draft was." And the third round is where I notoriously drafted Travion Henderson, who we'll talk about shortly.
Well, not anymore.
But that whole round was pretty gross. There wasn't really a lot of guys that I could have drafted there that would have been better than Henderson, but it wouldn't have been anything that would have saved my team or anything like that. So it was really the second round selection of Brian Thomas Jr., who was just a net nothing. And of course, we talked about I luckily turned him into Rashee Rice, but my season was over by then. So, fuck you, Brian Thomas Jr. You are now regarded in my head as much of a offender as Kyle Pitts. If not worse, because I spent the third on Kyle Pitts.
Have you considered just stop drafting bad players?
What I'm considering is forfeiting both my second and third round picks going forward and trading them for multiple fourths and fifths. Okay. I think that will serve me better.
I may take you up on that, yeah. And as we talked about many weeks ago, I was a kneel down away from being 2-4. Mm-hmm. And then Jalen Daniels fumble. I always call him Jalen?
Jalen Daniels is the Kansas quarterback, not related.
Jaden Daniels fumbled, and I'm 7-3. But as a famous dead person once said, job's not finished. You know what could happen? I could go 1-2. And you know what happens if I go 1-2? I possibly miss the playoffs at 8-5 for the third straight year, in which I will fall face first into a loaded shotgun if that happens.
Theoretically.
Strictly hypothetically speaking.
In a video game.
But yes, my team is looking quite good, but like I said, I don't get confident about anything. We were talking about the new, what's like the second year ESPN has the taunt feature, where you could send a video clip of your touchdowns and celebrations. I have never used that because I have the worst luck and worst karma in the world. That if I even get confident remotely about anything, I'm going down. I'm absolutely going down.
I hate the taunt feature. It's right. I've muted it. I don't use it.
Oh, see, I don't get the notifications anyway, so I didn't even know that was getting hammered by taunts all day yesterday, even though I was whooping our friend TiVo. But Bran actually did me a solid yesterday. He mentioned in our group chat that he was shocked that no one had picked up Joe Burrow and dropped someone they could have dropped. I just didn't realize Burrow was available. Mm-hmm. I figured someone held him. Luckily, I'm chronically on my phone and saw that text immediately. So I picked up Joe Burrow. Do I need him? Probably not. Did somebody else need him? Probably more than me. So, Bran, I have a thank you offering.
Oh, dear. I'm uncertain what this thank you offering is going to be.
It is one Rainbow Sprinkles donut. Brand coverage, run. Brand coverage. Oh, there were two in there. I ate one of them, of course.
Perfect.
But brand coverage runs on Duncan.
Look how tiny this little box
is.
That's huge.
This
looks like. This is above average size box.
It's bigger than the 6 one. The 6 is too many.
Massive box.
6 is too many.
I've heard 6 is way too many.
Yeah,
you want 1, maybe 2.
I joked I joked that I would get him a Rainbow Sprinkles donut yesterday, and I am a man of my word. I am a man of the bit.
Duncan, this is going to be taste great. But what is this coating? Look how uneven the coating is here.
Whoever chocolate splooged all over this
happening
donut
here? What factory? Whatever. It's a donut.
Okay, Homer Simpson ass donut bite. But yes, I am now the owner of Joe Burrow. I had something else. Oh, and guess who plays each other this week? Us. I believe since we've done the show, I'm 2-0 against you.
Oh God, that's probably true. I've been bad the last 5 years.
I have no confidence. I would like to stage a wager, but again, what's your team? 3-7?
Maybe.
Yeah, and I'm 7-3. So like I understand from Brandon's perspective not wanting to do a wager. I think that if I win, I get to dox Brandon. And what do you want to do if I win?
Live execution.
That's a reward. We
That's
did.
a win.
Shake
it's a
on
win-win
it.
for Pat.
Shake on it.
Yeah. So Pat and I play each other. If I had just honestly stood Pat at our league's trade, no pun intended, because your name is Pat, at our league's trade deadline, I would feel much better about my chances of beating you. But in our league's trade deadline, as a last ditch effort to try to put together a team that could win out and by a prayer make the playoffs at 7-6, I traded Rashee Rice in a deal that netted me Rico Dowdle, Jordan Addison, and Quentin Johnston, and then I made a separate trade that got me Emeka Egbuka for Quentin Johnston and Aaron Jones, which I feel pretty good about both of those deals, given that Rice was on a bye. I couldn't stomach that if I wanted any chance of having any hope. So, I've got Dowdle here as the RB2. I've got Egbuka here, George Pickens, whatever. I like the lineup. It's just not as good as it would have been with Rashee Rice for this week, but it is what it is.
Or, if you had a better record too.
Had a better record, drafted a better team. It is what it is. We every year, Pat, we never lose. We win or we learn.
That was my theory was just that you're washed. You're cooked, bro.
I've gone through a lot of theories. I think there was a universe trade for me to build up my social platforms and gain, this content creator status. Because as soon as I did that, I haven't won a ring or I've made the playoffs like one time. So, we're in our...
We're not supposed to be good at this. Like, again, first of all, I gave my pretty friend fantasy football advice again. Phenomenal advice. Told her to start Aaron Jones over Manungai, who did better. Manungai did score. And I told her to start Alec Pierce. Mm-hmm. So, how do you not... Erica, if you're listening, you don't want me yet? Ladies, you don't want me? Which brings me to a great story, by the way. Last night in my sleep, I have a history of night terrors, and I did take a Benadryl last night. So this could have been because I could have been running from the Hat Man in this dream, but I had a dream where I was like barricading. I jumped off something and barricaded the door, and then I realized hey, I'm awake.
Right.
Like I'm in my bedroom right now. I'm on the floor.
Mm.
Feeling around the wall. First of all, it took me 10 minutes to get up because I'm obviously fucking disabled. So ladies, if you want to be my at-home nurse, just another reason to want to be with me. So then I get up and I go to the bathroom and then I go, wait a minute. I'm like, what was I doing? I'm like, what was I moving in that dream? And I get in there and my bed is just fucking horizontal across my room. So needless to say, I woke up this morning and my back hurts worse than it has in 3 months. And it hurts. And it hurts every day. So that's not great. So that's how I started the day off today.
It's been an interesting couple days for us here. Our vampire team lost. Pat.
Don't know what you're talking about.
Our vampire team lost because, as we talked about last week, Pat's hallucinations of us being unable to acquire Jahmyr Gibbs were, in fact, the difference between us winning and losing this past week. So the vampire team is all but dead and eliminated. Well, it is dead and eliminated from the playoffs.
Not that we were going to make it anyway.
No,
but
we are now here strictly to try and ruin other people's seasons. But yes, we lost because of Pat's indiscretions.
As usually as a straight white man, I would take zero responsibility for this. But it is undoubtedly 100% my fault.
Just undoubtedly.
No other way to shake it.
What else we got? We're still both alive in our guillotine league. We're drafting right now. But yeah, that's
only 9 teams left too, so it's getting easier. Just got Nico Collins in the 3rd round. Wouldn't have got him in the first week.
Much easier to fill the lineup. And our weekly UConn update. UConn belt to ass against UMass Lowell. That was fucking hilarious.
And Columbia last night.
Yeah, but they
still
beat Columbia by a good amount. But UMass Lowell, and for anybody that didn't see, UConn was at one point up 44-3. So shout out to them. All right. We got
Oh,
plenty.
whoa. UConn football beat Duke.
UConn
Hello.
football beat Duke. I stormed the field because I could. I don't really know why they stormed the field. That Duke was 5-3. UConn should be in a conference.
A lot of crossover between those who stormed Rentschler Field and the U.S. Capitol. It's probably almost a circle Venn diagram there.
Let's get into the headlines for today.
Good evening. I'm Ron Burgundy, and this is what's happening in your world tonight.
I just don't think that's true either. But I can say I'm not in the Venn diagram.
Sure, pal, sure.
The New York Giants, Pat, have fired Brian Daboll. They're also keeping Joe Shane.
See you in Valhalla, brother.
Brian Daboll's entire season has been hilarious and basically has been him begging Jackson Dart to save his job. And then Jackson Dart, after suffering his 97th injury of his rookie season, could not save his job any longer because this whole team was held together by duct tape and Elmer's glue, and Jackson Dart had all of the duct tape and the Elmer's glue. So when he's not on the field, doesn't go well. Brian Daboll is out. He is the second head coach to be fired this season. The second head coach to be fired this season named Brian.
Any other Brians we should be worried about?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
Brian Flores isn't a head coach, so no. He's out. Pat, what do we make of this? I mean, look, for this, in the context of this being a fantasy football podcast, I don't think this really changes anything. I mean, Mike Kafka's taking over head coach duties. The Giants didn't necessarily have a whole lot of fantasy goodness outside of Dart and, with the Scadaboo injury and the Neighbors injury to begin with. But where do we look at this now going forward? Because I think the fact that they're keeping Joe Shane is pretty bad look.
Well, first of all, we forgot Brian Schottenheimer, but of course we did because
Brian
everybody does.
Right.
But,
barely a person, NPC.
I'll be honest, I don't think it's a good move. I think, we looked at Brian Daboll as the guy who brought the best out of Josh Allen, who's arguably been the best quarterback in the league the last few years. And you bring him to an organization and give him absolute dog shit at quarterback. You give him dog shit everywhere else. Then you finally bring in a quarterback who plays to, obviously he's not Josh Allen, but, he has similar characteristics to Josh Allen in the sense that, exciting playmaker, can run, big arm, all sorts of things. And you start seeing good things, then you go, too much success for us, and you fire him. That said, the way they lost that game to Chicago, everybody should have been fired. But that's the point. Everybody should have been fired. The fact that they're now saying that Joe Shane is going to lead their next search for a head coach is asinine. It's asinine. How in the world can you throw this all on the head coach? We know that the Giants hate firing their GMs. They kept Dave Gettleman for however long they had him, years too long. And not saying that Brian Daboll's a great coach or anything, but he is not the one that should be held accountable for this. It should either be no one or everyone.
Yeah. And I think, my first instinct when I saw this happen was, is Joe Shane really that bad? Like, as somebody who was not a Giants fan, I was like, all right, outside looking in, what has Joe Shane done? And the first thing that came to mind was the handful of really solid draft picks that he's made. But then you dive a little deeper and realize that, like, those are the flashy picks, mostly high picks that are kind of hard to fuck up. Malik Neighbors is an absolute stud. Jackson Dart is working out better than anybody, at least I really expected.
Sexy Dexy was a real good pick, though.
Was Sexy Dexy by Joe Shane?
I think so.
Recent enough? Okay. But like looking at these draft classes, like mid-round hits, you've got Cam Scadaboo this past year. Tyrone Tracy was okay. He's kind of been just...
No, I don't think that. Was Gettleman still there in 2019?
I don't think Joe Shane's been there 6 years.
I don't think so either. So never mind.
We're getting our research department on this.
Yeah.
But yeah, the percentage of picks that he's really hit on have not been super high.
It was not Joe Shane and not very close.
Okay. When did Joe Shane get hired? Like
2022.
22. Okay.
So I was not even close.
So Sexy Dexy, long before Joe.
Trust
Shane.
us though.
We are perfectly credible.
I have never been wrong other than that.
Listen, at least we recognize it. Yeah, I think you need to have a clean start here, a clean slate if you're going to do something like this. This is just going to prolong the inevitable, in my opinion. And, I'm seeing people draw comparisons to the Bears keeping around Ryan Poles and then hiring Ben Johnson and being like, well, it can work when you've got a GM that's falling out of favor. Like, Where's the Ben Johnson in this
That's
hiring
what I mean.
cycle?
It's like,
I don't see it.
I feel like a lot of these Ben Johnson types are gone. Like Liam Cohen. I think biggest one off the top of my head is Clint Kubiak in Seattle. Could be the biggest hire here to maybe try to invigorate what's going on. But yeah, and it's hard to say because you look at it as if anyone else's show glitching out. Is anyone else's show glitching out? Is Xfinity
Seems like our connection's fine.
Yeah, okay. Maybe it's Rice Flight's fault. Sorry, Rice Flight. But I feel bad for the next head coach. It feels like a sitting duck situation. But at the same time, you'd think, like, why would anyone want that? At the end of the day, if you're going to be a head coach in the NFL, you're going to take it. Like, how often do we have guys just straight up saying no?
Right. And while the situation itself may not be ideal with the GM, whatever, the other pieces around the roster, at the end of the day, this is going to be a very attractive job because of the quarterback. Because when you are a head coach candidate, your biggest worry is not being able to find the quarterback and having your job be at stake because of it. You come in with that part of it locked down, you're already way ahead of the 8 ball than a lot of these guys that are, coming in and being first-time head coaches.
Hit the breaking news button. Hit the breaking news button. It's not NFL related, but hit the breaking news button.
Right.
Breaking news!
The Mavericks are expected to fire GM Nico Harrison.
Get fucked, you fucking loser. Oh my God. I was looking at this morning. The Mavs are 3-8. And Nico was like, well, people are going to understand the trade when we're playoff contenders next year.
Your number 1 overall pick has the best game of his young career. And all anybody gives a fuck about is chanting fire Nico. First
they
of all,
lost.
Yeah. First of all, shout out Kenny Beecham. That came up on. I love that guy.
Yeah.
That's who the tweet came up on my my timeline. Yeah, just a quick thank you for Luka.
Funny.
He's not fat anymore. And the Lakers are very good without LeBron James, which they will be should he retire. So thanks, Nico. Fuck off.
Yeah, I guess the whole conspiracy of they gave him Cooper Flag to this was all part of the plan, right? He traded Luka and they were going to give him the number 1 pick to stimulate the Lakers team, and it was all a big collusion. Yeah, well, the guy lost his job 2 weeks.
Little did we know that the Lakers
the
also just have the next Jerry West and Austin Reeves. The Great White Hope is making the All-Star team.
Yeah.
So we can I don't know if that's his nickname or someone else's, but I refer to him as the Great White Hope. Back to the Giants. Yes, Jackson Dart is appealing. I think we're going to see, and as for Brian Dable, I think he's not done being a head coach. I don't think it's going to happen right now. I think he'll go be an OC somewhere, but I think he'll go be an OC and be successful to the point where he will be back in circulation for head coaching jobs, maybe next year, maybe the year after.
I can see that for sure. Also, the initial list of head coaching targets that the Giants are expected to pursue.
My God, that's Mike McDaniel's music.
Utterly hilarious. The names floated immediately were Steve Spagnuolo, Antonio Pierce, and oh God, there was some other bad,
the Maras will only hire
name.
The Maras will only hire people who have been a part of the organization before, apparently.
The real cinema hire would be Bill Belichick if they went with he gets Dart, we have May. I mean, we're not in the same division, obviously, Patriots and Giants, but
same
the rivalry's
region of
there.
the United States.
Bill used to be with the Giants.
Steve Spagnuolo was the Giants GM when they beat the Patriots in the Super Bowl the first time. Like that's how
he was
long.
their DC, right?
Yes, that's how. What did I say?
GM. I was like,
fuck me, dude. I am. It's because I was busy moving my bed all night, but I am fried. But yes, he was the defensive coordinator back then. It's like let it die. But nah, I think we will get some more. If they go with a defensive-minded head coach for Jackson Dart, just blow up the Meadowlands or whatever they call it now. MetLife.
Defensive-minded head coaches are okay if you bring in the right OC with it. We're seeing that. Generally speaking, work with the Commanders. Obviously, this season is lost, but like the formula of Dan Quinn and Cliff Kingsbury, I think, was still a good one. So you can do it. You just need the right OC to go with that head coach, and you need a head coach who's willing to realize that he needs the right OC and make that move. Another piece of breaking news, Pat, that came out in advance of the Packers-Eagles game last night, which was just a big old stinker.
Awful.
Hilarious. We'll just touch on it really quick, but the Cowboys included a, quote, poison pill clause in the Micah Parsons deal where the Packers were not allowed to trade Micah Parsons to the Eagles in the near future, or else the Packers would owe the Cowboys their 2028 first-round pick. Imagine they're negotiating that deal, And the Cowboys, Jerry Jones is like, look, we'll do this, but you can't trade him to the Eagles. And the Packers are like, we want him for us. What the fuck do you? Why?
Giants?
That's what
cool.
they were worried about.
Commanders? Cool. Don't you fucking dare.
I think it might have been the whole division, but the Eagles were just at the forefront
because,
of it.
who cares about the Giants?
But yeah, I tweeted the video. It was like this sound that circulated on TikTok for a while. It was like, do not sell marijuana to my husband. And the guy just goes, okay. Like he wasn't fucking planning on it,
Family Guy, don't get married. I'm not gonna. Good. Don't. I said I wasn't gonna. Good. Don't
trade.
You saying not to has no impact on whether I'm going to do it or not.
Do not trade the multi-time All-Pro defensive player that you are giving us multiple high-end draft picks for. Don't fucking do it.
Sponsored by Icy Hot.
No, it's not, but it could be. So yeah, just a very hilarious.
Putting it on my foot because
really,
of course not.
Really emphasizes what Jerry Jones and the Cowboys are all about. And last little piece of news here before we get to the more news, the trade deadline recap, because of course that shit popped off right after our show last week. Joe Burrow returns to practice. As Pat mentioned, he picked him up in fantasy, which led to the donut that I have already consumed here.
I consumed the other one in the car.
Joe Burrow returning to practice is an interesting one because, that offense has just been humming with Joe Flacco so far. And I do think that Joe Burrow returning in terms of the value of all these Bengals weapons, it's like, it'll be fine in the long term, but like that first game, maybe 2 games back, it's probably not going to be as it's hard to be as lucrative as it's been with Joe Flacco. So maybe not necessarily the best news for all the Bengals weapons if you have them in fantasy. It'll normalize, but like we're getting toward the end of the season. If Burrow comes back I think he was targeting Thanksgiving for his possible return.
Yes.
Those are some really critical games. And of course, Burrow comes back, you're not benching Chase, Higgins, whatever. But I just don't know that it's like, if you're a Chase or Higgins owner, that you're like, oh, thank God Burrow's finally back.
Well,
like, they've been just fine.
I said that last week or the week before that the fall is not nearly as bad as it would have been without Jake Browning with Joe Flacco now. So you're not like I'm a T. Higgins owner and I'm just like, okay.
Yeah.
Like that's just my thought about Burrow coming back. Like, great, obviously Burrow's better than Joe Flacco, but Flacco, at the end of the day, Flacco just has to be good enough to feed them the football.
Right. Better for real life doesn't mean better for fantasy.
T. Higgins has become his David Njoku, where he just loves him.
Yeah. All right, moving on to the trade deadline recap. So as we were doing our outro for last week's show, we got the news of the Jacoby Myers to the Jacksonville Jaguars trade. That trade, I think is still positioning Jacoby Myers as a pretty high-end target in that offense, although this past week we saw a lot of Parker Washington. We're going to get...
As we kind of thought.
As we thought. We're going to get Brenton Strange back, it sounds like, pretty soon here. Brian Thomas Jr. was hurt and missed this last week. So, I don't know that Jacoby Myers is going to be a guy that you're going to be able to confidently start going forward, but that trade went down. A lot of other trades went down after. We really were not expecting
Good Lord, man.
This level of
that
activity.
New hot Colts owner is really going all out.
Pat's got a thing.
First of all,
Lady Ursay.
She I make a joke that's only partially a joke that like if I could be with any woman in the world, it would be modern day Nancy Pelosi. This woman might take the lead. She may take the lead there.
I'm gonna bash my head against the wall. Okay, yeah, we'll go from there. Yeah, the Colts made one of the bigger trades of this deadline. Again, a very NBA-esque sort of deadline we had going on.
That was awesome.
A mere couple, if it was even a couple hours after our show, the Colts traded 2 firsts for Sauce Gardner, and then the Jets, amidst that fire sale of getting rid of Sauce Gardner, also traded Quinnen Williams to the Dallas Cowboys. Of course, those are not particularly fantasy-relevant trades, but definitely will help shape the rest of the season here, especially for the Colts, who are bolstering a defense as they try to, keep building and keep solidifying this roster around Daniel Jones and Jonathan Taylor. I do think they are certainly in the mix for, Super Bowl contention out of the AFC, and this only helps their case.
It happened before I got home from here, so that was like by 1 o'clock Eastern time that happened, because I got home and you sent me a message about Rashid Shaheed, and I was like, why, what happened? And you go, well, did you see what else happened? And I looked on Twitter, and I was just like, I'm like, Ahmad Gardner got traded.
Ahmad Gardner. If he keeps getting burned like he did this past week, that's got to be his new name. No more Sauce.
He doesn't even get Ahmad. We're going to change it to something else. We're going to name him
Jeff Gardner. So some big trades going down here, but we'll of course talk about the fantasy relevant ones. Talked about Jacoby Myers. The Seahawks trading for Rashid Shaheed, Pat, I do think is a big one.
That's fun.
So Rashid Shaheed, really only part-time role this past week. Not shocking given the integration into a new team, but it's not an overly new offense. The real appeal here is that he is rejoining up with Clint Kubiak, who was his OC with the Saints last year. And Sam Darnold, Pat, has been an absolute slinger this year. He has been a deep ball, bomb-throwing dude. And, you know, as much as we wanted the Torrey Horton hype train to continue on the tracks, it seems like it's fully derailed in favor of Rashid Shaheed. Rashid Shaheed, I think, is going to be a very, very startable and desirable fantasy asset going forward.
And, yeah, rejoining with Clint Kubiak here. That team, Darnold, obviously we're going to talk about Darnold on Mount Bustmore, spoiler alert, just because he didn't need to do anything. The way that team dominated the ball defensively and running the ball. Sam Darnold didn't need to do anything. But yes, in games where Darnold is going to need to do something, because you take Cooper Kupp at a 67-yard reception. You take that out. Really no one besides JSN did anything. Shaheed, in all intents and purposes, is going to be that second guy. Mm-hmm. And we've seen him being one of the faster receivers out there. You know, we can play in some more of those gizmo gadget plays. Also, who's George Holani?
George Holani, I believe, is a TCU running back.
I said
he was good in the preseason. I do
Boise
know who
State.
he is. Boise State. Oh, sorry.
Like I said
Boise
to my
State.
dad, I said,
Boise
I'm
State.
usually pretty good at knowing who people are.
Yeah.
And I had never heard of
I
this
knew
man
who he
in my
was.
life.
He flashed in the preseason while Kenneth Walker was hurt because he missed the entire thing. And yeah, of course, just any running back that's not Zach Charbonnet or Kenneth Walker is going to score a touchdown there. But
Charbonnet still did. It's really anybody but Walker.
True. But yeah, Rashid Shaheed, I very much like going forward. I think this was a great, trade destination for him in an offense like the Seahawks. Of course, games going forward will be less of an absolute bloodbath, and they will actually have to throw to their real players going forward. And I think the more and more Rashid gets reintegrated into this offense, that will, favor him quite a bit. And then, Pat, this was not anything major, but something to keep an eye on. As part of the Jets trades, specifically the Sauce Gardner trade, they did acquire Adonai Mitchell from the Colts. Yeah. Normally, this wouldn't make me bat an eye, really, but with this being a high-caliber draft prospect and the Jets having no receivers to speak of, with Garrett Wilson getting hurt again.
Garrett Wilson, who will now immediately go back to the bench for 3 to 4 weeks.
Yeah, I think you're looking at a guy who very well may be the best receiver on this team. And he was inactive this past week, again, as he adjusts to a new team, learns a playbook, all that stuff. But there's very much a world where this is a fantasy relevant guy down the stretch.
And there's another guy who's not really going to be fantasy relevant, but I didn't even know they traded him. When I heard the broadcast call John Mechie's name, I was just like, excuse me? I was just like, hang on a second. Which, again, great to see John Mechie, cancer survivor. Awesome to see him out there. Hasn't really turned into anything, but hey, he's healthy, so good. But I'm like, oh!
Yeah, John Mechie was out there getting active.
Man. Also, I don't consider myself to be good at fantasy football. The greatest move I have ever made in my life was streaming the Jets defense, who were last in defensive and special team scoring this year, and they dropped 19 on the Browns dome. I was sitting there and I'm like, man, I'm pretty good at this.
You're like, I'm that fucking guy.
That's the one where you feel like that fucking guy, literally the worst defense. I said to my dad, I'm like, I'd rather stream a bad defense against a bad offense than a good defense against a good offense any day of the week.
That's fair. And also, I think, Pat, we're pretty good at fantasy football. Look, here's the thing about us. Here's the thing about me and Pat. We'll be honest about our ups and downs and our shortcomings in fantasy football. All these other podcasts you listen to, they fucking lie. They lie. They don't tell you about their own personal
The Flock
leagues.
Fantasy guys made like $1 gazillion on Underdog, apparently.
Oh, dear,
never wrong.
That's that. Yeah.
I'm just clowning.
I believe it.
I actually like that guy very much, Mason. I like his stuff a lot.
All right, let's get into our injury report. Ouch. So the aforementioned Jackson Dart selfishly cost Brian Daboll his job by getting concussed. How dare he?
At least now Dable could maybe try and join the independent medical team and be in the tent all the time when Dart's in there now. Possible a future.
Yeah, I mean, he might need some kind of job other than coaching. But Jackson Dart concussed, of course, as we say, every time a player gets concussed, you never know how quickly a guy can come back from this. Impactful just in the sense that Jackson Dart has been one of the very best fantasy quarterbacks in the game this year. pretty much a lock for 20 plus every single time he steps out on the field.
Yeah.
So
electric kid.
Not something that overly affects the weapons, I guess, just because you probably weren't starting any of the weapons. I mean, Darius Slayton was a streamable kind of guy.
Wandale Robinson. Theo Johnson's been pretty good too, but they weren't lineup locks necessarily.
Right. So just keep in mind Jackson Dart, going through the protocol. We will keep an eye on that and see when he is able to return. J.K. Dobbins, Pat, foot injury. Suffered this on a hip drop tackle and is getting a second opinion. Now, you only get a second opinion when you don't like the first. So, I think it's fair, as of right now, to expect J.K. Dobbins to miss some time here for the Denver Broncos, and that will open up a lot for R.J. Harvey. I think
a lot for R.J. Harvey.
I was going through and I was looking, because R.J. Harvey's been a rookie that has not been dicked around quite as much as our boy Travion Henderson has been in terms of playing time.
Or worse, it's like the meme where it's like R.J. Harvey, Travion Henderson, Caleb Johnson dead at the bottom of the pool.
He's the Titanic. I was looking around. I was like, is this a case where like some other fucking running back is going to come up and take a bunch of touches? Now, I don't think it will be. Tyler Bidet has been involved here these last couple weeks. I think he'll continue to get some touches, but I don't think this is going to be a Patriots sort of situation where up until this week where Terrell Jennings got hurt, where like a guy like Terrell Jennings comes in and takes a bunch of work because, I don't trust the rookie to do all this stuff yet. I think RJ Harvey will get the bulk of the work. I would say 65+% of the touches out of this backfield if J.K. Dobbins misses time, and you could feel good, truly good about starting him for probably the first time all year.
Just to put that into perspective, the running back on the Broncos with the most carries after R.J. Harvey is fullback Adam Prentice with 4. Bidet has 2 carries on the year.
Right, but this is what I mean, because Terrell Jennings had 0 carries before Ramondre Stevenson
Yeah, but
went
Mike
down.
Vrabel's a dick.
He is. So Sean Payton's a dick.
Sean Payton likes his 2 running backs. But he also likes good running back. Like looking back to those 2, it was Mark Ingram, it was Alvin Kamara, it was Tim Hightower.
It wasn't at anyone, just any warm body.
Jamal Williams.
We're not expecting a Jaleel McLaughlin resurgence here.
I mean, sure, someone will spell him.
Sorry, that's Sarah McLachlan's song.
Oh, God damn it.
The angel.
But yeah, I feel really good about R.J. Harvey, and they've been doing, this past week only 4 carries, but they had been doing a lot in the passing game to get him more involved. And unlike Caleb Johnson or Travion Henderson, he's just like, his role has been pretty defined, where he's the backup, he's going to get some run, and what happens when that happens? The backup becomes the starter. So yeah I think Harvey, who are they playing this week? They have I never remember. They have the Chiefs, so not the greatest matchup in the world, but still, I mean, I think you're confident starting him more so
when you have a role like that.
By the way, those guys are fucking frauds, man.
Who, the Chiefs?
The Broncos.
Oh, the Broncos. Yeah. Agreed.
We have seen, they went on the road and beat Philadelphia. They whooped Dallas, things like that. Every other game they play like absolute dog shit and squeak out a win against the worst team imaginable, and then they're just like, you're 8-2, bro, 8-2. If they are the 1 seed in the AFC, book that first round loss, man. Book it. They can be very good. Defense is great. When Bo Nix is on, Bo Nix is great, but it's just he disappears for 3 quarters. But yet they're winning. At the end of the day, though, they are winning games. But this feels very Ryan Tannehill Titans to me right now.
I get that. Yeah. Sorry. As you were talking, I was starting to go through in my head. The Broncos are fraudulent and bad. I'm like, are the Patriots going to the fucking Super Bowl, Pat?
Raiders.
I haven't talked about this as much about the Patriots being a real contender because I don't think I believed it until this, Pat. But like. Are we going to the Super Bowl, Pat?
There's a good chance, but I mean, realistically, off the top of my head, there are 5 AFC teams that I think, maybe 6. Because obviously the Broncos are going to have the record. The Colts look good. I will never count out the Chiefs and Bills. Sure. And assuming the Ravens continue their good play and win that division, you can't count them out either. So it's going to be an extremely competitive AFC, but I don't see why the Patriots couldn't. The Patriots are good enough to make the Super Bowl. I just think there are several others that are also good enough. It's
going to be an interesting playoffs, I think, because you're looking at what people believe to be and may still be at their best, like the best teams in the conference are all going to be the lower seeds. Like you're looking at the Broncos, Patriots, Colts right now projected to be the top 3 seeds, but then you're still going to have the Chiefs, the Bills, and probably the Ravens make the playoffs, but all be the lowers. It's like all these great teams who have the playoff pedigree are going to have to go play road games. Like it's going to be really, really interesting. We're
First
shaping
of all,
up for
right
an interesting
now,
playoff run.
the Steelers are the leading the division. The Chargers are 7-3.
The Steelers aren't making the playoffs.
And
I don't fucking
currently,
care. They're not.
The Jaguars have the tiebreaker over the Chiefs for the final spot in the AFC.
Yeah, they beat them.
If the season ended today, it would be the Chargers, Bills, and Jaguars getting the wild card with the Steelers winning the North. I do not think that will happen. I do think Baltimore will win that division and Kansas City will get in. So very competitive AFC. But yeah, the Broncos, watching that game as a Raiders fan, there's a part of me that's glad they didn't win because, get a higher pick, do whatever. But I also want to see the team make progress. I wanted them to win that. I was rooting for them to win that game. And I'm just like, both of these teams fucking stink. And it's like the Raiders are supposed to stink.
Right. Yeah,
so, what's your excuse?
They brought the Broncos down into the mud with them, but I think the Broncos kind of willingly went into the mud. Garrett Wilson, to continue our injury report, so I got off on a little bit of a tangent there. Knee injury. Seeming, Pat, is this timeline correct? You put this in here. I'm assuming it's correct.
I saw expected
out
to miss
3 to 4 weeks with a sprained knee. So
re-aggravation
re-aggravation of the same injury. A lot of receivers this year that just have had kind of lost seasons, and they've kind of just been periodically like. Garrett Wilson, not to discredit, had a month and a half of being really good, and then now hurt, came back, hurt again,
and also didn't have a catch.
Yeah.
It's like he might, again, I always think of that Charles Barkley. Lonzo Ball had a triple single. He almost didn't play. He had 4 points. He didn't play.
Yeah, so Garrett Wilson expected to miss a significant amount of time re-injuring his knee. The Jets. The Jets have won 2 straight games, which is utter comedy because I don't think they're going to win anymore.
2 returns.
Yeah.
A punt and a kick. After the second one, again, like I said, I started the Jets defense. The second one, I was just like, are you fucking shit? Yeah. I'm like, what the actual hell? Again,
am I better than everyone else?
I love Aaron Glenn. This is long overdue for him to get a head coaching job, but it's like, do they move on after 1 year? I would really hate that for Aaron Glenn. I'd like to see him get more of a chance, but at the same time, it's like they may just need one of these young offensive gurus. They thought the hardened veteran defensive gritty coach was the choice, and it just might not be. I would hate, again, he'll go right back to Detroit and be a monster defensive coordinator, but I would hate to see it end for Aaron Glenn after 1 year, but I think it might happen.
I almost feel like he would have been fired already if they were going to go that way. I could be totally wrong here because he's proven not enough to, for me to be like, oh yeah, he's definitely sticking around. But I'm also like, how are you supposed to establish a culture, A, in just 1 year, and B, when you trade your 2 best players? I don't know how you establish culture when you get rid of the culture setters like that, right away. So I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised either way. But it just would seem like a weird kind of combination of moves to me if they were to get rid of him.
Also shout out to a Tam appearance in the chat.
Don't know who that is.
Thank you for letting me back in Southington Talks. I've already started yelling at old people.
Fantastic. Bucky Irving, shoulder/foot injury, still has no timetable. Expected to miss this week. This is going to be his 6th straight missed game, Pat. He was not put on IR.
No, this is like, I almost wonder if we even see him play again at this point.
Obviously the recovery has not gone as they would have expected. Otherwise, they would have put him on IR.
We've seen a lot of players this year, like Brock Purdy as well, just have these extended injuries where it's like, you could have at least put him on IR, given us that's why with George Kittle, they plopped him right on IR.
Yeah.
I'm like, cool, not going to have him back for a few
Purdy
weeks.
is one at least where it's like, they are getting good enough quarterback play, generally speaking, out of Mac Jones, where it's like they don't feel like they have to rush him back. The Buccaneers are not getting particularly good play out of there. Sean Tucker was okay this past week. We'll talk about him.
Rashad White had a touchdown as well, too.
But they're not getting Bucky Irving production out of the guys that have been replacing Bucky Irving
right now.
And the Bucs are now, not in a favorable position for the playoffs. I believe they're still leading their division, but it's not. They're not like, oh, we have a ton of room to dick around with here. They need to get their best players on the field if they're ready. So it's clear that Bucky Irving is just nowhere near ready. Yeah. And that's concerning because what the fuck is going wrong here that they were not able to identify it right away.
Very good Patriots run defense.
Yes.
As well, so
true.
You got to take that into account.
Thank you very much. Chris Godwin also expected to be out again with a fibula injury. Just not expecting anything from him at this point.
Keep riding
the rest of the season.
Ibuka. We saw a great game from Tez Johnson this week as well.
Yep.
Kate Otten had a Kate Otten day, just like, hey, Kate Otten's here.
I don't even know what he did. I'm guessing he had 5.
Oh, no, he had 9 for 82.
53.
He had 9 for 82.
Oh,
That's
9
a good
for
game.
82. Damn,
and Johnson
okay.
had 4 for 42 and 2 touchdowns.
Fuck Tez Johnson, that dirty bitch.
And had we started him in the Vampire League, we probably would have won too.
Well, had we gotten Jameer Gibbs in the Vampire League, we would have won. And that
obviously-
seems like a much easier decision and call to make, personally.
Ibuka is a 100% smash play the rest of the way. Low-end wide receiver one going forward.
I would 100% ride and smash Emeka Ibuka.
And they are at Buffalo this week, so...
Jaden Daniels, Terry McLaurin, both out for the Commanders. This is just a lost season for the Commanders. You can start Marcus Mariota.
McLaurin's another guy where it's just
McLaurin, again, Pat, these holdout guys, it never feels good, right? And it's one of the reasons why there are certain players who have elite seasons that I miss out on because of, certain process for fantasy football. And that was how I felt about Jamar Chase last year, because Jamar Chase held out all the way up until we had our draft, Pat, and Jamar Chase was still not back practicing, like clear that he was going to be ready to play. And I faded Jamar not because of like any sort of situational, obviously he had Joe Burrow at the time, but I'm like, I don't want a receiver that held out all through camp. It never seems to work out well. Well, it worked out for Jamar Chase that time, but like in general, I'm going to take those bets that it's not going to work. It's not working for Terry McLaurin. These guys that sit out, it didn't work for Brandon Ayuk. You don't have a good season when this happens 90% of the time, it seems like. So yeah, Terry McLaurin, another lost season. And if we get a receiver who's holding out, next year and doesn't get a deal done up until the first week of the NFL season, I'm probably all set. So yeah, you can start Marcus Mariota for as long as Jaden Daniels is out. He just continues to put up solid fantasy numbers. And as far as the Commanders receivers, I feel like it's basically just Debo, and that's about it. Debo scored a touchdown this past week, and yeah, you're not starting fucking Treylon Burks.
I did not. It was Treylon Burks as their leading receiver. I don't think I watched a second of that game, the 4 o'clock. 4 o'clock. I was watching the 49ers game. Yeah. I only had one screen on, so.
Yeah, and then on return watch, we've got C.J. Stroud with the concussion, so we will see if he can return to practice. Isaiah Pacheco, still TBD on him.
Andy Reid made it seem like he may miss some more time.
Yep.
Which is obviously unfortunate if you're a Pacheco owner. If you're a Kareem Hunt owner like I am, good.
Yeah.
Kareem Hunt, again, Broncos. Tough.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to have to decide between Hunt against the Broncos and Woody Marks against the Titans. I think I'm going to go Woody just because of that's such a good matchup and that's such a tough matchup. But Kareem Hunt is still startable. A lead back who is used heavily in the red zone.
She Kareem on my Woody until I hunt.
That's my team. Is she? What is she?
Kareem.
She Saquon my Uke until I cream or something.
she Saquon my hunt till Ayuk.
Oh, it's Saquon my hunt till Ayuk.
You don't
That's
even,
what it is.
You don't even have Ayuk anymore.
I did drop Ayuk. I'm gonna have to change that.
Speaking of Ayuk, Ricky Pearsall is seemingly getting closer. I think we've said this every week for a month.
Another guy where it's just like.
Yeah, it's the Niners, I guess. The Niners and Bucky Irving. You just never know. But yeah, Ricky Pearsall, I don't know, might be back. If he's back, I think you start him. If he's not, you don't. So how's that for fantasy advice?
Yeah, and
good?
And you start Jawan Jennings, obviously. He had the touchdown last week as well. If he's out, first of all, that George Kittle touchdown was...
That was crazy.
That man was running like a fucking ballerina on the sideline, and he is just enormous. So
sexy.
I'm so glad he's back because I've had him on my team the last 2 years, but I just love watching that guy play.
Hey diddle diddle, George Kittle up the middle, except it's not the middle, it's the sideline. All right, that'll do it for our injury report. Moving on to our backfield trends, aka Henderson watch.
And boy, were we watching.
Boy, were we watching this week. Pat, all it took was for 13 different other running backs on the Patriots to get hurt before the Travion Henderson breakout finally materialized. Antonio Gibson goes down. Nah. Ramondre Stevenson goes down. Nah. Terrell Jennings goes down. All right, fine.
Squidward awake meme.
All right, fine. I guess we'll use our early second round draft pick and give him some run finally. And no, it's not. And guess we'll let him go fucking crazy. 84% of snaps, 14 carries, 147 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 1 catch for 3 yards on top of it. Pat, this was the Travion Henderson I drafted I just didn't know that I wasn't going to get it until week 10.
Has to be so frustrating if you're, because like most likely you've either traded Travion Henderson, dropped Travion Henderson, or are so far out of contention because you drafted him that this doesn't matter except maybe spoiling one of your buddy's seasons. But again, like brutal, man. But at least we're seeing this, and hopefully, should Ramondre be out again next week, that's another one that seems a little up in the air.
Well, short week, so he's probably going to be out.
If we see Henderson play like this going forward, I think we could see next year them just saying, all right, we have no choice but to just let this kid ride.
Yeah.
But if Travion Henderson is available, well, he shouldn't be now that he's been the starter, but if somebody dropped Travion Henderson in your league, which they probably should have, and you picked him up, you're ecstatic. But for those of you who drafted him with the top 4-round pick, I am very sorry.
It's one of those things like I can't regret, like, I dropped Travion Henderson. I can't regret dropping him because it took so many injuries. I don't think if Terrell Jennings doesn't get hurt in this game that this happens. Like, yes, he had, Travion had 75 yards last week and he started to, show himself a little bit with the injury to Ramondre Stevenson. But the Patriots were still very clearly content rolling these guys out, alternating them, giving them both high-value touches. Well, to the point where Terrell Jennings had the first 4 carries of this game. Then he got hurt. And then Travion Henderson finally did his thing. I'm hoping that this is a you can't put the genie back in the bottle situation. I'll be honest, I'm not convinced that they're not just going to work these guys back in when they're healthy. Terrell Jennings, I don't know how much time he's expected to miss as of right now. Ramondre Stevenson, more importantly, when he gets back. I think this is going to neuter Henderson's fantasy value a little bit. As a Patriots fan, I'm ecstatic because I do think they're going to use Henderson a little more now. Granted, I've said that 900 times, but this is the most evidence we've had.
Are we going to see Dearness Johnson or whoever, Pierre Strong, whoever else they're going to pull off the practice squad?
Dearness Johnson not getting any significant carries after the Jennings injury was at least a positive.
That's what I mean. And again, short week this week. That game's going to be disgusting on Thursday night.
41-3. Predicted.
Yeah, it might be like remember when the Raiders almost put 70 on the Chargers a couple of years ago? We might be getting those vibes.
Yeah, I saw a meme of the in the theater with like the gun to the head and the gun to the head.
Oh yeah,
and it was like Raiders Broncos and then gun to that head was Chargers Steelers, but then at the very back it was Patriots Jets, and I'm like, give us some. This game won't be generationally ass because sides, I think Drake May is going to be able to put up points on this Jets defense, but who knows? Maybe Thursday nighter maybe it's icky, especially I feel like any game where a team has worn cool uniforms hasn't really done anything. So maybe the uniforms are cool. I'm very excited the Patriots will be busting these out, the rivalry jerseys. I love these. But yeah, Travion Henderson, the breakout is here. Is it sustainable? I'm skeptical for fantasy purposes.
You have to be at least somewhat after all the bullshit that Josh McDaniels and Mike Vrabel pulled.
But man, he looked awesome. I mean,
that's great.
That speed was like Jahmyr Gibbs, Devon Achane looking type of speed. Yeah. And if we can get that, the Super Bowl thing is very realistic.
From fantasy-wise, it's not as exciting, but if you're looking at it as a Patriots fan and, a fantasy player next year, I think that's more so what we're looking for in Travion Henderson, rather than necessarily winning you something this year, but he still very well could.
Brand spending a 3rd-round pick on Travion Henderson. I'll fucking do it again. The New York Giants, Devin Singletary took a back seat this week, 33% of snaps, 8 carries for 20 yards, and 3 catches for 53 yards, playing behind Tyrone Tracy, who had 67% of snaps, 14 carries for 71 yards, and 1 catch for 0 yards. If Jackson Dart's going to miss time, Pat, it's kind of a double-edged sword here, right? Because the offense isn't going to be as good, but they're also not going to have the vulture that is Jackson Dart taking away these touchdowns. To me, I feel like it's more of a net positive to have him out for these running backs when you're looking at just the level of player that you're starting if you're starting a Tyrone Tracy or a Devin Singletary. Because you're already not expecting a lot because they're on the Giants. At least this opens things up for the potential touchdown a little bit more.
And Russ does like throwing the ball to running backs. A good deal. We saw it in Denver. We saw it in Pittsburgh. Maybe we'll see that here. But yeah, I'm not starting either of these guys. I feel like both should probably be owned just in case the other goes down. Obviously, if one of the other goes down, talking about a very, very startable running back, but this feels like a case of another team we're going to talk about where they've just been going back and forth when deciding what they want to do. So a frustrating situation, not quite high of a ceiling enough for me to be in on it. If you're desperate, obviously you're going to have to go for Tracy over Singletary, but I don't like it.
I miss Cam Scattaboo.
God, don't we all?
RJ Harvey and J.K. Dobbins, we talked about this one. So this past week, though, it was RJ Harvey, 28% of snaps, 4 carries for 9 yards, and 2 catches for 9 yards. Dobbins, 52% of snaps, 18 carries for 77 yards and 1 catch for 7 yards. So in a normal situation when J.K. Dobbins is healthy, I think, here's the way I break down this backfield. I think Harvey would be a viable flex in the right game script, but as we saw with this shitter against the Raiders, good luck predicting when those viable and favorable game scripts are going to be, because you would have thought this was a great one for him.
And you'd think it would be, considering they're 8-2.
Right, but luckily, unluckily, whatever, J.K. Dobbins get healthy, obviously. You don't necessarily have to make this judgment going forward because R.J. Harvey will probably have it to himself anyway, if this Dobbins injury forces him to miss some time. But yeah,
great today.
As it normally stands, I would say, Harvey it's a much harder player to read. But
he's
for right
still
now,
a starting running back on a good team.
Right.
Put it that way.
Kyle Monungai, 38% of snaps.
This is actually a sad one, not like a mocking one.
7 carries, 28 yards, and a touchdown. 0 catches. DeAndre Swift, 62% of snaps, 13 carries for 80 yards, and 5 catches for, I don't know, I think I have the yardage wrong there, but he had 5 catches.
It adds up, because should DeAndre Swift had been struggling, like we all kind of thought he would, this could have been Monungai's opportunity to take it. But the fact of the matter is DeAndre Swift was playing really well.
Yeah.
And Ben Johnson said, we're going to ride the hot hand. Swift was still the hot hand before he got hurt. Like, him getting hurt did not take away the fact that he was the hot hand when he was in there. So it's just, it's difficult to keep Monungai going when you've got someone as good as Swift. So it does make sense. I did have to start Monungai in a couple leagues, and thankfully you got the touchdown. But we're kind of him going back to a risky flex play here, and Swift is somebody that's going to need to be in your lineup. And it's just unfortunate because I know we're both Monungais, and he's, again, just a really fun player to watch. But Swift has earned. Swift has, proven us and a lot of people wrong, and has earned this prominent role in a team that has been playing good football.
Well, and again, I talked about it last week how, as much as I wanted to just say, Kyle Monungai is going to go crazy the rest of the year, like, I acknowledge DeAndre Swift's been playing well, and you can't really deny that. So I am a Swift believer now for this year. I already was, as of a couple weeks ago. You get just beaten down with evidence after a while. You have to buy in. So this isn't a surprising outcome to me. I think Monungai is still a startable flex guy. You're just looking at, we talked about it before, it's a diet version of Montgomery and Swift. And I kind of pushed back against the idea that exact split would materialize, just because Ben Johnson went to Chicago. But, like, it's materializing. And so I think, much like how Montgomery has those big games and then kind of disappears sometimes, you're going to get that from Monungai as well.
This is like the watered-down version of Detroit. Like, it's diet soda, but half of it is water.
Yeah.
And the other half is piss. That's how diet.
Yeah. It's basically RC
Detroit
Cola.
This is.
Yeah.
Fuck.
RC
God,
Cola.
I don't know the last time. You know what? Did they even have them in the store for me to buy?
I don't know. All I'm picturing is like an 80-year-old soda machine outside of Walmart that sells RC
This
Cola.
diner still makes Coca-Cola the old-fashioned way. Sorry. Okay. And last but not least, this was the team I was sort of referring to when talking about the Giants. It seems our boy Woodrow Marks has taken over in Houston.
Woodruff Jebediah
I say
Marks.
It seems, but at the same time, they have flip-flopped so badly in terms of who has been getting most of the touches. But we have not seen a disparity this significant. Like, we would kind of see Marks get 60-40, and then kind of Chubb get 60-40. We have not seen this significant of a split in Houston so far. And as I mentioned earlier, they have a fantastic matchup against Tennessee here. And again, this is a team that's sort of on the up and up. Now, they won 2 straight games, and, they won that game against Jacksonville. Marks is a better receiver than Chubb. He's just younger, he's faster, he's more explosive. I'm just so scared that they're going to fuck around. That's why, like I said, I'm going to be deciding between Marks and Kareem Hunt. If Pacheco's out, I know for a damn fact that Kareem Hunt is going to be the big load back in Kansas City.
BLB, baby.
I'm scared that Woody Marks may not be. But at the same time, if he is, great matchup. In theory, would be a smash play this week. Yeah. But there's that hesitation just because Houston, similarly to the Giants, there's really no rhyme or reason to the way they kind of dole out their carries.
Yeah. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I do think Woody's probably going to take it the rest of the way. I mean, Chubb just what does he offer? But granted, we've said that for a few weeks straight now.
I've been saying that for a few years.
Yeah. Pat's been waiting for Woody Marks to take over for Nick Chubb in the Houston
when he
Texans
was
backfield for the last 4 years.
I don't even know where Woody. Don't tell me. Well, I'm clicking on it.
I know
He went to
where he went.
USC.
Do you know his real name?
Is it? What does it start with?
Jay.
Is it Jacory, just like Bill Merritt?
It's Jaquavius.
I was actually kind of close.
It was pretty close.
I love Woody, though.
I love Woody's. And then handcuff watch, Pat. Jalen Wright playing ahead of Ollie Gordon.
I know Gordon was banged up, but it is significant. If you're a Devon Achane owner, not finally. Achane's been great this year, but he was really great this past week.
Should have drafted him. That would have changed my season. How
I
about
did.
that?
He was really great this past week, and if he goes down, it seems Jalen Wright's getting it over Ollie Gordon, and that's better too because Ollie Gordon was taking some work from Achane. Wright stinks. So if
More like
he's not
wrong,
he's really not going to command as much from Achane. But again, if you've been handcuffing your guys, you got a bench spot, something to look at. Because I own Ollie Gordon, and tomorrow I will not.
Ollie Oxenfree to the waiver wire, bitch. All right, let's move on to Mount Studmore and Mount Bustmore. Starting Mount Studmore, we should have retired him, but
can't do it.
But he's here because this was his most points this year, right? I think Jonathan Taylor.
Yes.
It has to be 48.1.
And that's half
PPR
PPR
points.
half PPR points.
Is he your MVP, Pat?
I think he has to be. I think the fact that no quarterback has truly been head and shoulders above the other, the fact that we've seen there are so many guys in the conversation, Stafford, May, Allen, Mahomes, I'm forgetting some folks, Sam Darnold, I don't know, but the fact that Taylor has been as good as he is, and there's no quarterback truly taking hold of the award, I would give it to Taylor right now.
I think where I'm coming from, and so look, if you look up MVP odds, Taylor is not even like top 3, I don't think still. And I think that's for a couple reasons. The way I look at it is, if the season ended today, I think he would be the MVP. I think baked into, we've got a whole half of the season left. Baked into that is the idea that if he regresses even a little bit, he probably won't get it.
Yeah.
Because right now he's on pace. First of all, this sounds crazy with what he's done this year. He's not on pace for 2,000 rushing yards, which is crazy. Just under, it's about 1,930. But he's on pace for, I believe, 26 rushing touchdowns.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Almost 30 touchdowns total.
We're talking we've seen some big touchdown seasons from the likes of Jamal Williams and Raheem Mostert. He is smashing that and being as impactful as he has been on the ground. This has been a dominant season, but he sort of does need those touchdowns to kind of keep that up. And granted, he's in a great position to keep doing it with Indy's offense and the way they've been playing, the way he's been playing. You're on the clock.
Thank you. But it is hard to project. You've had this many touchdowns. It's like he's had 3 rushing touchdown games this year.
Insane.
He would have to do that again in the back half. So I get the hesitation of, as ridiculous as it's been, he needs to keep up exactly what he's doing. He cannot afford to slow down. But if he does keep it up, I think he'll win. I've seen people say, oh, well, if Cooper Kupp didn't win MVP a couple years ago, no skill players ever winning it again. And I'm like, that's great and all. Cooper Kupp had a ridiculous fucking season that year. Cooper Kupp also, quote unquote, only had 16 touchdowns that year. If Taylor's going to finish pushing 30 of them, I think that guy is going to have, in terms of how the MVP values, a winning, impacting player, I think they're going to value a guy who had that many touchdowns over, like you said, quarterbacks who aren't necessarily head and shoulders above anyone. Stafford's been great. Drake May's been great. But I think if you get a borderline 2,000-yard, 30-touchdown running back, that guy's probably going to win MVP.
I'm distracted because I checked my work email. I'm on medical leave at the moment, and they just had a thing of available shifts, and it's just all my shifts through the end of the calendar year. These are just all my shifts. People take my shifts, but yes, so that made me laugh. But yes, Brandon, you're very correct. You're very on point with Jonathan Taylor. Devon Achane, I love this man. It's like the meme where it's like, why is Rose's name Rose? Well, your mother loves roses. That's great. I love you, Dad. I love you too, Devon Achane. like that's how I felt after this game today. The fact that we have seen him I stopped watching towards, I don't remember what I did, but before the last touchdown, after he had the big run, and I'm like, did he score again? This is the tippity top. He was number 1 on my guillotine rankings this week, and I got him at 3. But had I picked 1, I would have taken Devon Achane first.
Cue the violin, Pat. These are my top 2 picks last year: Jonathan Taylor and Devon Achane, and I didn't have a very good team because they both got hurt a lot. So
And that's another thing. Knock on every piece of wood you can. Achane has been healthy.
Yeah.
And man, again, so involved in the passing game. He's only had that one down game in the passing game a couple weeks ago. Hey yo, Woody Marks.
yo, she Kareem on my Woody till I mark.
Oh wait, I've got Woody on my team now. I can.
She Kareem on my Woody till I mark.
She Saquon my Woody until I Kareem. Oh,
there you go.
there we go.
There you
All
go.
right,
all right.
yes, I love you, Devon Achane, and Jahmyr Gibbs. We don't need to talk about him for any specific reason.
36.7 points would have won us our vampire matchup, but Pat's a fucking loser. Yes, Jahmyr Gibbs was awesome, and he's just does this. He was on Bustmore last week, wasn't he? This is why you don't worry about guys like Jahmyr Gibbs and Jonathan Taylor, because they generally aren't going to do it 2 weeks in a row, and they did not. And then rounding out Mount Studmore, we've got Travion Henderson, of course, 27.5 fantasy points. I do enjoy that this was just, I guess, the week of the fast running back. Achane, Gibbs, Henderson, guys that just burn it down the fucking sideline. Taylor's no slouch himself, but he's not pure speed like these other guys are. So yeah, just the week of the running back.
Changed.
Perfect. And then honorable mention, Mount Studmore, Davis Mills, baby. How about Davis Mills?
The neck bowl.
You want to know what my favorite stat was from this game? Trevor Lawrence's record against Davis Mills has now fallen to 1-3. He was able to add another loss to Davis Mills.
Davis Mills is a solid NFL backup.
He is. He's not the worst.
He
He's
is.
not the worst.
There was a point where they were thinking, is he the guy? Obviously, C.J. Stroud is much better than him, but hey, that man balled out, ran for a touchdown as well, right?
He was a little tank.
Yeah.
All right, Mount Bustmore, Pat, you mentioned Sam Darnold earlier. Actually, Executive Powers took him off Mount Bustmore just because I felt like there was more relevant players. But he had a bad game.
He threw the ball 12 times.
Yeah, he had bad fantasy
again,
game.
you were starting. You're probably starting Sam Darnold, but yeah, it's fair to.
I knocked him off mainly for Bo Nix.
Let's slander Bo Nix a little more.
Yeah,
please, yeah.
5.8 fantasy points against. There it is inexcusable.
So much talent there on such a good team, on such a good offense. These games are just inexplicable sometimes.
Well, looking at Bo Nix, I'm asking, is the talent in the room with us? Because he has been. Someone asked me. I did a Instagram Q&A when I was on the train the other day, and somebody asked me.
You didn't answer my question, by the way.
Good.
I think I said, is Pat bald or is he just...
I did see that.
That was the
somebody asked me Bo Nix or Drake May, and I just quoted it with steak or gas station sushi.
That's right. Yeah.
Like, that's what you're asking me right now, and that's only been furthered. I don't think Bo Nix is as bad as that game, it was a bad game, and it's the type of game that he shouldn't be having.
Very inconsistent.
Yeah, very inconsistent.
Again, the highs, awesome, but we need to see that more prominently, especially on a team with such a good record.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Bo Nix, bad game against the Raiders. James Cook, 8.2 points against the Miami Dolphins.
Nothing we really need to refer to there either. So A.J. Brown is another.
Yeah. James Cook. What's wrong with the Bills, man? How'd they lose to the fucking Dolphins?
And they didn't just lose to
They got walloped.
The Dolphins dominated. That was the game I was watching most prominently at 1 o'clock. And they just whooped them. They were in control of that game the whole time. I just don't get it. Allen mustered up 20 points. He ended up having a salvage
Mustard!
Colonel Mustard in the and Khalil Shakir. But yeah, I don't. Just a very bizarre occurrence. The Bills are obviously no longer in charge of the AFC East.
And won't be for the next 20 years.
I think you could firmly say now that the Patriots are the best team in that division, they are going to win that division, but the Bills should still be a high wild card team. So it's like, you can't play games like that. And it hurt James Cook because they could not run the ball a lot. As opposed to A.J. Brown, where the Eagles just didn't fucking do anything.
That game last
night.
That
game was all. I was like,
so
I had already had. Oh, I needed Devontae Smith in another matchup. So that touchdown won me a matchup in another league. He catches the touchdown there. He keeps up his good numbers this year. Saquon has an okay day. A.J. Brown is at bottom of the pool dead.
A.J. Brown's getting traded this offseason.
There's no way he can be
surprised.
happy in the situation. And if that's the case, Devontae Smith to the fucking moon if he is the only guy on that team. The only guy we've seen, well, he's been consistent, but Dallas Goedert has been really involved. But yeah, Brown is just not
Jahan Dotson
but
to
then,
the moon.
But then Brown has his huge weeks where you're like, oh yeah, there's A.J. Brown.
Well, because he's A.J. Brown. So, they're going to happen, but he's having more of...
Oh, you know who could use him? The Titans.
Oh, that'd be a great idea. He's coming to New England. I hope you know that. He's coming to New England to
a
play
number
for Mike
one
Vrabel.
receiver has never worked under Josh McDaniels outside of Randy Moss 200 years ago.
Who of the number one receivers been? Stephon Diggs is working great.
He's 100 years old.
So is A.J. Brown by next year.
A.J. Brown is on a much higher level than Stephon Diggs.
Exactly,
right now.
so he'll be better.
Okay,
Get
next.
fucked. Get owned.
Justin
bitch.
Jefferson had a bad game as well. Only 5.7 points. Disappointing compared to the likes of other top receivers who have been rock solid consistent. Jefferson has just sort of been like, I'd kind of like similar to Saquon, where it's been like, yeah,
Yep.
he's been
Exists.
He's not killing you on a weekly basis, but he is not returning, being drafted as high as wide receiver 2 in some drafts.
Yeah, definitely been a little disappointing here, and that's why he's also going to head the next segment I have here, Pat, which is just general trade targets. So
most leagues
standard fantasy. So I looked up ESPN's standard trade deadline is actually like 2 weeks from now. So but we're getting to the point.
We got a comment. We got a money question about that we'll talk about that more later.
We'll talk about that. But yeah, we're getting to the point now where certainly you're at least thinking about your league's trade deadline if it hasn't passed already. So I just put together a few trade targets that I think are worth looking at. Guys whose values are maybe not where I think they're going to be by the end of the season, and guys who I think can really help you win a ring down the stretch. Take advantage of the fact that these guys, perception of these guys is a little bit lower right now. And that starts with Justin Jefferson. Now, I am not the biggest fan or believer in J.J. McCarthy.
Not yet,
but
at least.
Justin Jefferson is a guy that has been QB proof largely in the past. And again, Pat, like you said, this year, other than this past week, 5.7 points, he's been mostly at least around that 10-point or so mark. I think he can probably be had for a bit cheaper of a price right now in trades. I think he is the caliber of player that's going to be able to take advantage of really good matchups here down the stretch. Justin Jefferson the rest of the season plays the Bears this week, then a couple of tougher matchups against the Packers and the Seahawks. But if you are a playoff team, if you are trending toward your fantasy playoffs,
he's got the gauntlet of the NFC East.
He then has the Commanders, the Cowboys, and the Giants.
And by gauntlet, I mean fucking marshmallow cakewalk.
The pooplet.
Yeah, that's just very good matchups.
3 straight games of just fantastic matchups come playoff time. It finishes out with the Lions week 17, so you'd have to deal with that one. But again, it's Justin Jefferson. So I just think hasn't been great, can probably be had from a frustrated owner. And if you are a playoff caliber team, go out, make an offer for Justin Jefferson and see what you can get. Chris Olave is another one I put on here. He's on bye this week. So you've already got that angle to work if he's on a team that needs a win.
I was about to say the same exact thing. If you've got a team desperate for a win and you can go get Chris Olave has very quietly been the wide receiver 11 this year.
I love me some Chris Olave.
He's been. I have him in our league. I have him in my other big league where I'm like 6-3. So it's like he's been really, really consistent. And you lose Rashid Shaheed now, so Olave's the big play guy now. We saw him have that great play on the sideline, then where he just broke away. But wow, yeah, he hasn't scored worse than 7.2 in a single week, which again isn't fantastic. He had the huge week a few weeks ago, but he's just been rock solid. And Tyler Shuck seems to like him just as much as Spencer Rattler did. And again, he's on this list for a reason. Great schedule after the bye.
Incredible
Atlanta,
schedule.
Miami, Tampa, Carolina, the Jets, and Tennessee.
You're looking at, the Atlanta matchup's not like the best, but after that, it gets ridiculously good. I think you're looking at a guy who has the capability of being a top 5 sort of wide receiver for the rest of the season. If Tyler Shuck is not a total egg. So I would definitely be looking at Chris Olave.
Been that
No, he
bad.
wasn't.
He's been okay.
He wasn't. Rashid Shaheed,
he should be. He's like 50.
Rashid Shaheed, we already talked about. This is a guy that I think you can acquire, especially based on this past week where they're easing him in. Maybe be like, hey man, look, this guy was ass in his first game post trade. Like, just fucking give him to me.
There is a little worry though for me about him fully assimilating, but again,
I think you can get him cheaper though.
Yeah, and I would be more fearful if this was not a Clint Kubiak offense.
Yeah, of course. But I think Shaheed's a guy that you can get relatively cheap. He's done almost nothing this year. I think a lot of leagues are not going to be, or a lot of his owners are not going to be cognizant of the fact that, he's going to this offense that he's familiar with. He's going to this team that's deep ball throwers, whatever. They're going to be like, they have JSN. Shaheed's not going to do much. I think you can get him for cheap. I think his ceiling is a solid wide receiver 2 the rest of the way. And I think, his floor may be kind of low. But again, this is a lower end deal that you can make for him. You don't need to give up a lot.
And that's a team that's been slinging the fucking ball. And we know that's what he does best, is being downfield and beating defenders off.
Speaking of beating, Quinshon Judkins.
Here we go.
Is our next target here. He's coming off.
God damn it.
He's coming off of a few bad games, but he is still dominating the touches out of the backfield. His schedule coming up is the Ravens, the Raiders, the 49ers, the Titans, the Bears, the Bills, the Steelers, and then the Bengals if you play Week 18. I just wanted to throw them in there because they're arguably the worst defense in football. So, little extra bonus there. If you do play fantasy Week 18, you're also a terrorist.
Yeah, you are.
But the stretch there, Pat, of Raiders, Niners is whatever. I mean, they're always super banged up. So, I mean, that's not necessarily a bad matchup. But then Titans, Bears, Bills. That's an incredible matchup for a guy getting all of the carries out of that backfield. Again, he's lost a lot of steam since we basically anointed him as this like RB1 lineup lock kind of guy. And so take advantage of that because I think it's going to bounce back. It's going to go back the other way. Running backs with this kind of workload don't grow on trees, and running backs with this kind of workload that are going to have that kind of schedule definitely don't grow on trees. So go get him. You could probably get him a little bit cheaper now than you could have a month ago. And then finally, Jaylen Warren. Again, another guy who's just been kind of solid, so I don't think their owner is going to be super attached to him, but he's been good. He's been on a team that's been in at least neutral game scripts, and his schedule coming up, Bengals, Bears, Bills, Ravens, Dolphins, and then Lions and Browns is a tougher way to end it, but these next 5 weeks are monstrous.
Double-digit carries every game, more than 2 receptions in every game. Excuse me. Obviously, the Steelers and Aaron Rodgers have not been a great offense, but they're good enough. And Warren is just clearly the guy, which we were kind of wondering, like, what's Caleb Johnson going to do on nothing? And, what's Kenneth Gainwell going to do? Turns out, and I think this was one of my better takes from the preseason, was that I liked Jaylen Warren because we thought the best case scenario was him getting every touch, being the big load back, and he is. And he is. And at the end of the day, there you go.
Yeah. So we are very much on Jaylen Warren. So, yeah, if you guys are looking for some trade targets, some high-end guys that can help you win the rest of the year, Justin Jefferson, Chris Olave, Rashid Shaheed, Quinshon Judkins, and Jaylen Warren. All right.
Actually happy that
$1
I own a lot of these guys along my leagues.
moves.
Make it move, make it move, make it million dollar move, make it move, make it move, make it million dollar move, make it move, make it move, make it million dollar move.
All right, these are our free agents that you should be targeting in your league.
It's gross.
It's kind of gross. Generally, these are players that must be available in 50% or more of ESPN leagues. Starting with the quarterbacks, I cheated. I did throw in one over 50% specifically because of your situation where people may not realize that Joe Burrow was available in your league.
I had no clue. Had no idea.
The time to add him would have been yesterday if you could have before he went into the waiver cycle with everybody else.
Him being on bye was the perfect storm.
Yeah, exactly.
Perfect storm to pick him up.
But if you still have a chance to get him on waivers, look, it may be a month before we see Joe Burrow. They are opening. He's returning to practice. He's going to start, warming back up here, but we may not see him in game action for a while. Point is, he is only owned in 62% of ESPN leagues. That is 38% of leagues where a potential top 3 quarterback for the rest of the season is available to you. So I think he has to be mentioned just to go see because there's a larger than expected chance that he's available in your league.
Also the fact, obviously our trade deadline has passed, but in my situation, it could have been pick him up, trade him.
Right.
And trade him. So if your trade deadline has not passed and you sneak Joe Burrow, because I have Justin Herbert. I have Sam Darnold. I don't need Joe Burrow. I mainly did it because, why not just in case? But if you're in a league where you can utilize that and trade him, do it, man. Do it.
100%.
Or woman. We're an inclusive fantasy football podcast.
Very true. Speaking of Cincinnati Joe quarterbacks, Joe Flacco still only owned in 33% of leagues. Pat, he's been, I believe, the overall QB1.
He's been
for the last month. So
again, the bye week hurt him.
Sure.
Hurt him in terms of ownership. So that really helps. Now the bye week, you could scoop him up if you're really in trouble at quarterback.
Yeah, I mean the matchups aren't ideal. So they're going to play the Steelers this week, the Patriots next week, and then the Ravens. So the Ravens is, I guess, a better matchup, but their defense has been playing better lately as well. So yeah, I mean, look, Joe Flacco's been that good. He's kind of been matchup proof, seemingly. I'm not looking at the teams he's played right now, but he has been an absolute monster. You can't generally get the QB1 over that long of a stretch, this late into their ascension. So I think you go out and get Joe Flacco if you can do so. If you need a quarterback, and then Marcus Mariota, 11.4%. Again, just solid when Jaden Daniels.
And he can run.
He can run. That's why he's solid.
Good upside.
He likes to run. Running backs, we've got Trey Benson just under that threshold, Pat, 49.9% owned.
He may not come back this week, and I actually added this guy during the show, Amari DiMercato. He was the guy, and Bam Knight got banged up. And I think the reason why DiMercato was not involved was because he was hurt as well. So now he's back. If Trey Benson doesn't come back, I would not be surprised at all if DeMercado has the most snaps and most touches for Cardinals running backs. But I do think you should pick up Trey Benson because in theory you still think he would come back into that number one role should he come back.
I would agree. Kareem Hunt, 47.8% owned.
Shocking.
Just shouldn't be available.
Bye week? They were on bye this week.
They were on bye this week.
But that's the only reason why. Unacceptable, borderline. He is the starting running back on the Kansas City Chiefs, who even when Pacheco is in, they love his fat ass at the goal line.
They sure do.
And I love him. I drafted him in the 15th round for no reason, held him all year, and now I'm real happy.
Yeah. Devin Singletary, 37.1% owned. Again, just getting a solid amount of work in this backfield, and without Vulture Jackson Dart, you could do worse than him as a depth running back. Sean Tucker, Pat, 3.5% owned. Got a lot of work this week against the Patriots. I believe it was 9 carries for 53 yards.
Yeah, compared to White's. White had 10. I believe White had the touchdown, though, didn't he?
Yeah, and just with the, lack of, or I guess existing presence of bad news about Bucky Irving not returning, you look just ridiculous right
Dude,
now.
I am
it's very funny.
Suffering.
Pat is just horizontal. He's actually inverted. He's at about a negative 30 degree angle.
I'm in an obtuse state right now. Why are you being so obtuse? What did you just call me? What about now? No, now you're being acute. That's the third Family Guy quote I've ripped today. So,
but yeah, Sean Tucker, Brand's boy OG is viable.
Absolutely.
Suddenly.
Again, still a good team, good offense. Had a rough week this week, but hey, it happens.
Yep. Wide receivers, Parker Washington. Just good, I guess.
He is
prone
the
to a
number
drop
one,
here and there, but he's just good.
He
and
is
trusted.
the number one target in that offense.
He
right
is
now.
Brenton Strange. I think could be back this week, if not next week.
Let's see how owned is he. He might be a guy to mention anyway.
Yeah,
is he on our list or
no? He's not. I don't even think. Do we even have tight ends this week? I don't think I even.
I put
oh no,
some tight ends.
they're down here. Yeah,
Brenton Strange is owned in only 9.6% of leagues.
He
as well,
should be picked up.
Throw
Very
him
much
in
picked
here.
up.
Let's see. Head coach Liam Cohen. He had his window opened week 11. That's this week.
That's this week.
So
okay,
he can come back anytime within the next.
Not back yet.
Anytime within
soon.
the next 3 weeks.
Soon. But for now, Parker Washington. I mean, he's just making plays, man. He had a kick return. He looked great. Alec Pierce. Alec Pierce is just. I said this. This is just one of the better receivers in football now. I think
he's been really good.
Alec Pierce's ascension is, I think, why the Colts were not able to get Adonai Mitchell going and why they were willing to get rid of him because
they didn't need him.
Pierce, just against all odds, was outplaying him and has been outplaying him. His target shares have been fantastic most weeks, and he's just been shockingly consistent. This has been one of the most low-key, ascensions of the year. This guy, he went from this hilarious boom bust guy that people would ask me start sit last year, and I was like, don't be a fucking moron and start this one play merchant.
He was like the Calvin Ridley kind of. Exactly.
Yeah.
He was that Nick Westbrook-Akina.
Yeah. And now he's become a legitimately good receiver.
And
so
they have had room to make. Michael Pittman's had a great year.
Yep.
Alec Pierce has ascended. Tyler Warren has the last couple weeks, but he's still been one of the top tight ends. And even this past week, we saw Josh Downs. Granted, they were losing. Daniel Jones threw the ball 50 times. That's not going to happen every week. But yeah, the fact that
Pierce
they've
scored early in that game,
the
in
fact
a double
that
coverage
they've been able
end zone shot
to, be as good as they have been, and maintained that many fantasy weapons is not something I don't think anyone expected that.
No.
Oh my God, Daron Sharp is out with a glute injury today.
Oh dear.
Same.
Breaking news. Darius Slayton, 33.8% owned. I mean, if it's Russell Wilson at the helm.
That's what I think I still think he's going to be involved. That guy's been involved no matter who's quarterback. Daniel Jones, Tommy DeVito,
Darius
Drew Lock,
Slayton
Russell
will never die.
Darius Slayton is inevitable, but obviously Russ just caps the ceiling.
Yes, and they are against the Packers defense this week, so not a great matchup. Speaking of the Packers, though, Pat, I put Christian Watson on here, 27.9% owned. So Packers, speaking of ouch, he's not ouch. The rest of the Packers receivers are
Allegedly.
ouch. Tucker Kraft obviously is out for the year. Romeo Dobbs,
Pat's pal.
Romeo Dobbs left this game with a chest injury. Jaden Reed is still on IR, and Christian Watson was getting targeted downfield a lot. And I am here to wonder if when that happens against defenses that aren't the Philadelphia Eagles, that's probably going to go a lot better for Christian Watson. It seems like he's kind of reprised his role from when he was prime Christian Watson. Now, can he turn that into prime Christian Watson production, which really was only like a 2-week stretch?
We've seen so little Christian Watson prime, and it feels so, what is it, 2 years ago?
At least,
Might have even been 3.
Yeah.
Where he had his great stretch. So
I just think
it's speculative.
If there's all these injuries, and again, I think in the wake of the Kraft injury, we're looking to see what exactly this offense is going to look like. I don't think we got a great look at what it's going to be because of how just strong the Eagles defense is. But against normal defenses, I very much think Christian Watson has the chance to be the go-to guy out of all of their gaggle of mediocre receivers. And he's been with Love the longest. So I think you're looking at a good speculative ad here, especially he was targeted downfield so much last game. It just didn't materialize.
Sorry, I am in agony.
Just T's and P's for Pat.
I'm having a wonderful time. I said to Bran on Sunday night, every Sunday night it happens where it's just like, yeah, I want to do the podcast. And then it's like, Mondays. And my Garfield ass hates Mondays.
I told him he wants a big helping of podcast lasagna.
So then I sent him
I
sent him a meme that I had on my phone of gay Garfield where it just goes, lasagna and cock. Which I've had saved in my phone for like 5 years now.
I hate that I've seen that meme before that day.
I hate that I have that saved, and I had the Dale Earnhardt car on Normandy ready to go instantly when we brought up Normandy. Someone brought up Normandy.
Brett brought up Normandy.
And instantly, yeah. But that said, I am in agony, and I am having a wonderful time. I love doing this. I love all of you listening. Tight ends.
Tight ends.
Speaking of tight ends, Colston Loveland, 41.5%. What, no Cole Kmet this past week, right? And
I thought Cole Kmet played.
Oh, no, he got concussed. I believe he played and got concussed. But we see Loveland, granted, only 4 targets, but he caught all 4 of those targets in 55 yards. Being involved in that offense, we haven't really seen anyone behind Roma Dunze when Roma Dunze is involved. Like, DJ Moore has not capitalized. Luther Burden has not capitalized. This is Loveland's opportunity here. And again, him being owned in this many, available in this many leagues, is, not a good idea.
Yeah, so Kmet was concussed last week. He played this past week, and still, despite that,
1 catch, 5 yards. Yeah.
4 catches, 55 yards for Colston Loveland. So yeah, I mean, breakout type of guy. For
I
sure.
do think we need to pour a ton of water on Theo Johnson here. I put him on here with the notion that he has been so good since Jackson Dart has taken over.
Yeah.
If Jackson Dart does not play,
wow.
If Jackson Dart does not play, I do not have much faith in Theo Johnson.
No,
it just doesn't seem like Russell Wilson has that kind of connection with him. But, if you want to pick him up and hope Dart only misses a week here after Brian Dable cures his concussion in the tent, that someone worth picking up. But yeah, just Dart being out, I would have. Otherwise, I loved this pickup. I'm like, wow, he's available in that many leagues. I got to go pick him up. Russell Wilson got to kill that for me.
Fuck Russell Wilson. I would agree. Jawan Johnson's also been just really good.
Inexplicable.
4 catches, 92 yards and a touchdown. Not a lot of targets, only 4 targets, but I mean, hey, you catch all of them. And has been pretty consistent lately.
Rashid Shaheed's gone. He's the number 2 target in that offense.
Yeah.
And again, it seems like Shuck is just going to throw to Olave and Johnson. Johnson had 2 down weeks, but before that he was great, and since then he's been great. He's either, like catching 7 or 8 passes or scoring a touchdown, or like this past week, both.
Taysom Hill, by the way, also just keeps getting goal line carries inside the 10-yard line carries for the Saints. Hasn't really converted them yet, but Pat, do you know what next week is?
Oh, is it the Falcons
week?
Uh-oh.
I'm not saying.
Oh, I'm facing you too. I might have to pick him up so you can't.
I'm picking them up right now. Taysom. They're on bye because we played this week. They're on bye.
Oh, thank fuck.
Taysom Hill is next week. Taysom Hill Falcons is next week. But next week,
Dave can pick him up. I'll still beat him.
Cade Otton, 34.7% owned. Just solid, man.
Very solid.
Just a solid tight end.
Especially real life NFL tight end.
Eat your vegetables type of tight end. He's just been pretty good. 12.7 points. I mean, 9 catches, 82. If he does that every week, you'd be ecstatic. But even outside of that, 4 catches for 40 yards, 7 catches for 65. All these scoreless, too. If he could start mixing in a touchdown here and there, you'd be in really good shape. And then lastly, Luke Musgrave, 16.4%.
Didn't do much last night. I kept him on here just because I made this before the games last night, so I just kept him on in case he had a good game. Didn't, 4 points.
3 catches, 23 yards.
And again, you mentioned the Packers' injuries.
And they had nothing going on for that offense. So, I do think in better matchups, he could be a startable guy. Not a guy I'm rushing to put in my lineup yet, but still a guy that could certainly make his way in there. But that'll do it for our $1 million moves.
Yeah, we've got 7 minutes left until our 1:30. Do we have anything else fun to do or anything?
No. Not really.
That's all, folks.
I'm just kind of sinking into this beanbag, just chilling.
Bro,
you know?
I would like to just be buried under this beanbag, right? I am going to go home. You have never seen a human being more horizontal. Like I said, I had lunch plans after this, but my friend canceled, and thank God, because I'm going to go home and be more horizontal. I've got plans. I got to go play cards at my grandmother's, which is why I bought this in the first place.
Fantastic.
Whenever someone complains. So, yeah,
The
what are you up to today?
Let's see. We're going Christmas decoration shopping
God
later.
fucking damn it.
So
wait, it is November 11th.
we're gonna-
Okay,
we're-
I'll cut you some slack.
We're gonna put some stuff in the yard. I don't know what.
Anything in here?
I might put a mini tree in here somewhere. Yeah,
Nice, like
yeah.
in the view.
Little baby Christmas tree. You know, get in the spirit of the season. But yeah.
And just so you know, those listening on Spotify, watching on YouTube, you can catch this anywhere. Join us live, touch chat with us. Bran is learning this at the same time as you. We are going to be a little later next week, probably
how dare you.
around 11 a.m. Eastern time. I think
How dare you.
I might be able to start earlier than that, but I think for the sake of it, let's go a little late. So join us next week, 11 a.m. Eastern time, live on YouTube and wherever else Bran streams us. Bran, anything to add here?
We also stream on. I was gonna say I don't want to get a shadow banned by YouTube by saying a platform I shouldn't say. I was gonna.
What are we on Kick? Like what?
I was gonna say
Pornhub?
OF. I was gonna say it, but it detects words sometimes and then suppresses your content. So we're gonna stream on of. I'm also gonna stretch. All right, we're gonna end the show here because it's just devolving. Thank you guys for tuning in. For Pat Gustafson, I'm Brandon Carney. We'll see you guys next time.
We're devolving. I don't know. Goodbye.
All right, let's answer some chat questions here now that we are done filibustering. Let's see what we've got. Lucian with $5 said, favorite rookie whose team choked to General Neck Mills. Man, this guy has just not broken out the way I wanted him to either. But Bishop to it, baby.
By the way, Dave mentioned, just to circle back, I did storm the field Saturday, and I did not storm the Capitol. Extreme Stephen A voice. However, Gary did both. And he's Dave's one of our league mates. So is Steven here. Pat, you want to do the horizontal hokey? What the fuck? Put your right foot in. Like, is that what we're doing here? Okay, money questions. Sorry, everybody. I have lost the plot.
All right. Cleo with $2 said, I have Knicks and Bowers, and they combined for 9.5. Yeah, I had Bowers in that.
Week.
I lost by 3 in our league.
Oh, was it only 3?
It was 3. And if Bowers had just gone for, I don't know, 7, I would have won. But hey,
the Raiders fucking
coulda, woulda, shoulda. Straight Grizzly with $4.99 said, how do you feel about trades once mathematically eliminated or basically eliminated?
This is interesting. This was the question I was referring to earlier. I think you need to look at it like the team is not eliminated. First of all, you should have your trade deadline a little earlier, just to make this not happen. But in a case, I think you need to view it as if it's a team that also is a competing team. Is the trade fair? Even if it's with a team that's mathematically eliminated, if it is a fair trade and you cannot prove collusion, then I'm okay with it because they're still in the league. So obviously Dynasty, you trade all you want.
Sure.
But in a redraft league, I am okay with it. But obviously that is when you really need to keep your nose up, the sniff test, just to make sure everything is kind of, correct here.
Yeah, I mean, I think you need to allow it. I think this comes down to a lot of questions people have about like vetoing trades in general and just league conduct. It comes down to, do you have people in your league that aren't total pieces of shit? And if you don't, fix that first. And that should have been addressed and fixed before the season. I know sometimes you don't know. It might be friends of friends to fill a league, whatever. But when you buy into a fantasy league, you are buying in for the right to play the whole season. Unless explicitly stated otherwise. And so if you all agree on that,
I
great.
will say the regular season. I am also extremely anti, unless you have stake in the consolation bracket.
Right. And
in one of my leagues I'm in, if you win the consolation bracket, you get the number 1 pick in the draft. So in some leagues, that's fine. But if you are out of the playoffs and you are playing for nothing in the consolation bracket, you should not be allowed to touch anybody on waivers. People say, I paid to play. You're right. You paid to play for the regular season and you lost and you are eliminated. But that said, with trades, they're still alive. Like our last place team in our league has traded a lot. this year, and nobody batted an eye because they're good, fair trades. But
Someone batted an eye. They got someone reported me for acquiring Jordan Mason again. I don't know who
reported.
Someone complained to our commissioner about my conduct with our last place team when I reacquired Jordan Mason because for God knows why. So whoever's listening, whoever did that,
and this kind of goes on the
watching you.
This goes on the same wavelength. Trades should not be vetoed unless you can prove collusion.
Yeah.
Unless you can prove collusion, or it is just so obvious. We had one in a league a couple of years ago where a guy was literally messaging people saying, "Hey, if you give me this guy, I'll give you $50 when I win."
Yeah, that can't happen.
First of all, kick that person. And but as long as it's not collusion and it's a fair trade, like it would be between any teams, that's fine.
Yeah, totally
I've got no problem.
All right, next
That's the most sense I've made all day.
Making dollars, not cents, baby. Knight the Mite with $5. What's up, man? It's been a while. Said, with the Henderson breakout, should I pick him up on waivers to start against the Jets D? I've got Genty, ETN, and Woody. Yes. As long as Ramondre is not playing, I would be starting Henderson, not over Genty. I think
Woody's got such a good matchup, but like I said, I am afraid of the Chubb.
I just think this game script should be pretty dominant in terms of the Patriots. Now,
I do think you got to start him,
but
especially if Terrell Jennings is out as well.
Yeah, if Terrell Jennings is out, it's an absolute smash. But I would say I would start him over ETN and Woody personally. Dustin with $4.99 said Vidal, Kareem Hunt, or Aaron Jones in place of JT. JT on bye, of course. Also Kittle or Gadsden. I'm generally going Kittle over Gadsden.
I would too, just more consistent.
Vidal, Hunt, or Jones. I think Hunt and Jones are both more consistent than Vidal. Vidal keeps having these dud
Vidal
weeks
had a great
randomly.
week this week, though.
He had a great week, but he had a dud week against the Titans.
Chargers at Jaguars.
Yeah, no,
That's
it's a good matchup.
That's a solid one.
It's been kind of even every other week for Vidal.
Kareem Hunt has the Broncos, tough matchup, and Aaron Jones has are they Monday night? No, I missed them. The Vikings have the Bears. So fair, similar matchup for all three.
I'm going Aaron Jones.
I think I am too, just because he is clearly the number one, and I think of these three, he's just the best player.
Yeah, I think, and the least likely to get kind of ignored in the game plan as well.
Fuck.
Alex with $2 said, "Is it harder to build a great offense or defense?"
Defense. I would say I think it's way more impressive to have a great defense than a great offense. So that's kind of where my answer's coming from.
Yeah, I think probably defense, because you can't have a great defense because of one player. Like,
you need multiple good players.
You can have a great
system and a culture, more so defensively than offensively. Absolutely.
Yeah, and I mean, you can't have a great offense because of just one player either, but a great quarterback sure as hell goes a long way. A great quarterback goes a longer way than a great anything on defense. Like, if you have Myles Garrett's arguably the greatest defensive player of all time. If the Browns had only him on defense, it doesn't matter. Like, yes, you're going to have to double him, but everyone else you can single up and they're not good.
Is Jim Schwartz still there?
I think so.
Yeah. So it's like, again, I think it's more difficult to have a good defense because you could have, we've seen teams have one great player on offense and it works fine. Hello, Patrick Mahomes.
The S-Box with $4.99 said, thoughts on my late week trade that processed today. Gave Nico and Kamara and got A.J. Brown and Walker. Kind of worried after seeing their scores this week.
I will be honest, I don't like it.
I don't like it either. I mean, I think you got the better back slightly, because I think Kamara, I don't know, man.
He had a decent week this week, but he did. Walker doesn't score, and Kamara's involved in the passing game still. And I just like Nico way more than A.J. Brown. And again, for this week in particular, Titans.
Yeah, agree. Avon Kamani Vidal said with $4.99. So, do you think Henderson could start to see a lot more work in the second half of the season? I think it's possible.
I thought about that, yeah.
It's possible. I mean, again, we've been sort of cucked on this breakout so many times that I think we're gun shy, but this was also objectively the most breakout that we've seen from him by a mile so far this year. So it's definitely possible, but I am weary of Ramondre coming back and what that's going to do.
Ramondre will, at the very least, exist.
Yeah.
Endo's not going to have the keys to the castle.
No.
With Ramondre Stevenson active.
Cole with $10, thank you, man, said score 230 points this week. Grabbed both Darnold and Flacco for 3 quarterback roulette. Team is Williams, Darnold, Flacco, Ladd, Emeka, DK, JT, King Henry, Bill, Henderson, Juwan Johnson, Goddard, Travis Hunter.
That's an excellent, excellent team.
Yeah. RB2 Derrick Henry is nice. Lad,
Mecca,
DK.
Lad, DK hasn't been great, but you're good
But that's
enough
your wide
there.
receiver 3 now because
That's what I mean.
McConkey has decided to not
And
be
Bill has not
McDonkey.
been. Bill has kind of faded. I guess. Yeah, we didn't really mention Chris Rodriguez as a potential pickup.
He got hurt, didn't he?
I don't know how serious, but they said going into this week he was going to get more work. He got about
he
the
was a
same
captain.
number of carries than Bill, and he had a touchdown. Again, Chris Rodriguez just isn't that good of an NFL player, is kind of the thing, but he is good in short yardage situations.
Shoulder injury. Yeah, it doesn't seem like severity has really been expanded on yet. 6 carries, 16 yards, and a touchdown. Yeah, I think Chris Rodriguez.
Bill had 7 carries, I think. So.
Chris Rodriguez is definitely a speculative ad, mostly just because Bill's been bad.
That's what I mean.
The Bill hype train
I
is
forgot
kinda
about Chris Rodriguez just because that team.
off the
I
rails.
just have not been paying much attention to that team because there's not a whole lot to
They're dead.
watch on, unfortunately. And Dan Quinn took over as DC. Also, we should have mentioned this with Jahmyr Gibbs is that Dan Campbell took over the play calling, and
Yeah.
that team just exploded.
And Jameson Williams was awesome.
That's what I mean. So it's like people have kind of given Dan Campbell shit because he never called plays. He was the tight ends coach in New Orleans when he got hired, but. It's a 1 week sample size, but
It's good sample size.
We can see
Good
some
sample.
really,
Sorry.
but he knows his culture. He knows his team. He knows what he wants to do. So I love it. I love it.
Ren, I think, may have had a stroke here with $5. Said Mr. Beast on the thumbnail plus Go Texans plus L Pat Lover 69 plus 1 with 2 empty spots plus Jonathan Taylor plus Jonathan Taylor, Jonathan Taylor, Jonathan Taylor.
So Mr. Beast on the thumbnail, you do look very vaguely like Mr. Beast. Like ever so slightly.
Great.
Go Texans, yep. L Pat Lover 16. Did you beat Matt in our league with 2 empty spots? That's kind of funny.
That is kind of
With
funny.
Jonathan Taylor alone. Like, a problem is in our Vampire is you can only drop and add players if they are on IR.
Mm-hmm.
I made an exception for guys on PUP like Joe Mixon and Brandon Ayuk, but so some of these teams with buys and injuries, these guys may not be allowed to set a full lineup, and it seems Ren has one regardless. And also for the folks out there, this Vampire League has been a blast, and we will absolutely be looking for 9 new players next year.
100%.
Because this has been just an absolute fun fucking time, and maybe I will not have an aneurysm.
Agreed. If you had a fantasy team made up as one entire NFL team, which one would you pick? I assume Lions or Bucks.
Ooh, I think I'd go Lions.
Let's see.
So much upside at every position. 2 running backs.
I mean, as we stand, if we're talking as it stands this year, I mean, yeah, Gibbs, Montgomery, St. Brown, JMO, Laporta.
Laporte at tight end, Goff at quarterback. Your flex is kind of shit. It's probably like Khalif Raymond or something, but
I mean,
am I forgetting somebody?
give me the Colts. DJ,
Oh, yeah.
Taylor, Pittman,
You're
Pierce,
starting
Downs,
DJ
Warren.
Giddens, though. Or
That's true. I guess you got to look at the
Or Amir
double
Abdullah.
running back. You're really getting goose out of. But
See, 'cause that's the
Taylor's
thing
put
is-
up
Taylor-
plenty. Taylor's probably put up more than Gibbs and Montgomery combined. I bet it's at least close.
I do like the Bucks when healthy, but that as of right now, no. With Rashad White and Sean Tucker's not the worst
No,
duo.
it's not.
And then you've got Ibuka and Otten. If Godwin was healthy, Evans was healthy, Bucky was healthy. I say the Bucks are a great candidate, but they're not. I'll still go Lions, but I like your Colts bowl.
Yeah. All right, Alex, back again with $5. Said, how do you with? I'm gonna guess this says deal. How do you deal with drain/burnout in addition to an off week as a creator? I try not to bug out too much about it, but man, last week was not my best. God, I feel like I'm burnt out all the time.
I'm burnt out and I'm currently not working.
I mean, take a step back, take a little break, go for a walk, remind yourself why you do this, and come back to it with a more open and fresh and positive outlook. I definitely get times where I get burnt out just because it's like I put all this work into a video, and then even if it does well, but then it's like it's out into the void and then it's done. And I'm like, okay, now I have to do it again and again and again. But I don't have to.
Do it again.
I get to do it again. And this is a cool job. So I understand, like, I know Alex isn't doing it full time as a content creator, but it's like, if you want to pursue that and try to get to a point where that's the case, like it's a hobby. And if you, for some reason, you find a longer period of time where you don't love it, there's got to be a reason for that and figure out a way to love it again, whether that's changing the type of video you're making or just, trying anything new that kind of re-stimulates the old brain waves. I think that's where you gotta look. Knight the Mite with $2 says, with Dayball gone, who will be the next head coach to fall?
I would have said Mike McDaniel, but it seems like they're not going to do that until the end of the year. I don't know if there's anybody else that's in like really imminent trouble. Like I think if the Browns move on from Stefanski, it'll be at the end of the year.
Yeah.
I think if the Jets move on from Aaron Glenn, which, like I said, I really hope they don't, end of the year. Same with Pete Carroll. Pete Carroll's not going anywhere after 1 year.
Yeah. I mean, I guess.
It's Callahan, Dable, and McDaniel were kind of the three sitting ducks. Shane Steichen has taken his name. Like, Shane Steichen is sitting on an ice throne right now. His seat is so cold as opposed to entering the season.
I would say I don't think Gannon's totally safe yet. They're 3-6.
That's a good pull because
I mean, they just lost to the Seahawks. Everyone loses to the Seahawks, so I'm not calling for his head. You know, they were coming off, I think, two straight wins before that.
I still think D'Amico Ryans is a phenomenal head coach.
Cowboys.
They just need better offensive coordinators. They need better play calling. They need better personnel on the line. But I like D'Amico Ryans. I don't think he's going anywhere.
I mean, they have one of the best defenses. They have arguably the best defense in football.
And he's young, too. Dan Quinn, not going anywhere. Schottenheimer's been fine. Like, yeah, honestly, I really think the only guys that are in trouble here are McDaniel, who has been said to be in trouble by the team, Glenn, Kevin Stefanski, and Jonathan Gannon. But I'll say we're done with regular season firings. That's what I'll say.
Yeah, I think
also, I wonder, maybe Alex will put his thoughts here. Zach Taylor, do they finally pull the fucking plug on him? I don't know. Alex or whoever has thoughts on Zach Taylor, feel free to jump in.
Yeah. Mike G with 499 said, true or false, May is already a top 7 quarterback in the NFL. Love this channel. True.
Ooh.
True.
I'd say so.
True.
Or at least off the top of my head, I would say top 10 at worst.
Yeah. I mean, I think you've got, the more conservative people that would want to see more than, half a season for May and probably against better competition. I get it. So you'll put May, Allen, it's not May, fucking May, Mahomes, Allen, Lamar, healthy Burrow, all above for sure.
Then we're looking at
you're looking at Stafford, the way he's playing, especially.
400 touchdowns. It's insane.
After that,
it might be May because who else is in that conversation? Like, I don't think we could put Daniel Jones overall in that conversation.
No, I mean Justin Herbert is certainly still around.
Oh yeah, I think I'd still put Herbert ahead.
That's fair. That's fair.
And then you're looking at guys like Jared Goff.
Yeah.
Dak Prescott. Mm-hmm. I'm forgetting somebody. I thought of him and then forgot him.
I mean Daniels when healthy.
Yeah, did I say Jared Goff?
Yeah.
I guess Jalen Hurts has got to be in here somewhere, too.
Somewhere.
I think I'd rather have Drake May than Jalen Hurts right now. It's just crazy to say.
Baker Mayfield. Rather have May than Mayfield.
I would say at the very worst, May is 10. But I think you're fair to say that.
Won a spicy meatball at $5 to JT for MVP. He's already outperforming MVP AP. See, that's the thing about the midseason, though, is that, like I said, you have to keep it up. But yes, that's why
the end of the year numbers are going to look great, but he has to do it all the way, and then those numbers are going to be so insane that there's no choice.
Yeah, I'm bored with $10. Said I'm tired of people calling my Broncos frauds.
Who said that?
We just have a play calling problem on offense. That's it. The Chiefs played like this for 2 straight years and made it to the Super Bowl both years. Yeah, but they made it to the Super Bowl.
Well, and like I said about them, they're not like complete frauds in the sense that they've still got a really good defense. They've got a lot of talented players on offense. It's just the inconsistency. And it's like if they go and have a down game in the playoffs against a playoff team.
Well, and that's the thing. You can't say the second part of it, we just have a play calling problem.
That's a big problem.
That's a problem. What are you doing to fix it?
They're still a very good team. And oh no, T mentioned something in the chat that I'll have to address.
Okay.
It's about the yearbook.
And then last thing here, the S box with 199 said was offered Swift and Franklin for Jalen Warren.
I think I'd do it. I think Swift is a more exciting player than Warren. I am, Monungai is there, but that Bears offense has been a little consistently better.
I would not do it. I would rather keep Jalen Warren. It's close though.
I think you're, if you don't do it, I'm not going to say you're making a mistake, but
you're a fucking moron. All right, let me get all these messages out of here.
So, T, our good friend on the podcast here, did not expect to see Pat's yearbook photo on my timeline last week, LOL. So one of those content farmings sites in Indonesia is apparently where it's from. So my 10-year reunion, we did a one of those things where you post a picture of your yearbook and then where you are now. My yearbook picture was heinous. I had no beard. I was fat as shit. The lady's like, put your chin down. I'm like, no. And I did, and it was just one of the funniest fucking pictures I've ever seen. And the TikTok has over 6 million views on this Twitter account. 6 million. And even on Instagram, because I didn't want to do it, but these two pretty girls are asking me to do it. And a pretty woman could tell me to jump out the window head first, and I would do it. I'm at the point now where, like,
Swan dive.
a woman says jump, I say how high. So that's what I said. I'm like, and they're
says
like,
jump, you
and
say,
they're-
I
I'm like,
can't.
no, that's a
What
terrible.
else?
I'm like, that's a terrible picture. They go, oh, you look so good now, though. I said, you don't need to lie. Just say I look less bad. And then I'm like, I don't know why we're haggling like this because I'm gonna do it no matter what. And we did it. And obviously, I was the a target in the comments, rightfully so. And some of these comments were fucking hysterical. Like, yo, bro's hair moved from his head to his chin, which I did have a full beard back then when I was 17 years old.
My hair did the same thing.
I did have a full beard as well, but I just didn't have it at the time. That was actually when I started. My senior year of high school was the last time I started regularly shaving my beard. Like, I let it grow and then go clean. I've only gone clean like twice since then for a couple bits. Maybe the loser of our game will shave the beard.
Fuck no. Absolutely not.
Well, because Bran's intimidated. You know what? We got to think. If I lose, I'll do it.
Okay, great.
And we'll figure something else. We'll figure something else out for you. But I'll say it now.
Drown myself.
If Bran beats me in fantasy this week, I will completely shave my beard. I don't have work. I don't need to impress anybody. I'm gonna look like a fucking penis on this show with no beard.
I do enjoy our pal Dave with a fake donation. Said $2.99 gives Bijan Henderson no flex. I'm going to start Henderson over Bijan, and you can't stop me.
Crazy work.
Please stop.
Insane
Dave,
work.
please
Now
stop.
actually pay us $2.99, Dave.
Yeah, you owe us. Pinder with $1.99 said benching JK for Tez Johnson or Parker Washington. Well, considering JK's probably out this week, I'd say
I'd
that's a
start
good bet.
Washington over Tez, just more prominently featured in the offense.
Are the Pats going to win the Super Bowl this year? Yes. You with
They're
a
gonna lose to the
full head of
Giants.
hair was shut up. You with a full head of hair was less off-putting than you with no beard.
More hair was this. Because, I mean, I haven't shaved in like a week and a half. So I am not completely bald. I have just chosen to shave my head and I think it looks better. But, like, realistically, I can still grow my hair and pull it off to some extent. I just haven't needed to shave it. But I have a gig this Friday at Kinsman Brewing in Southington. We go on at 9 o'clock. So I'll shave my head then.
Aiden said, "Love the show, guys. First time catching it live. I have Kittle and Warren through the rest of the season. Who would you say I should start most weeks? My league can't start tight end in flex spots. So Kittle and Warren.
I think Kittle right now. Unfortunately, we
too.
talked about how Warren's kind of faded a little bit, and they've got Alec Pierce has been playing really well. Michael Pittman's been great, and Josh Downs is there as well. They run the ball a ton. I just think we're more likely to see more involvement from Kittle than Warren. Can you trade in this league? Like, are you allowed to trade? Also, not being allowed to play tight end in the flex is lame, by the way.
Dave said, what was it, 40 Panthers last time? You send me $2.99. How do I request that? I'm not sending you $2.99.
I might.
Okay, you have fun.
Only if you buy a rainbow sprinkled donut. Dogs are coming out. Oh my God.
All right, I think that'll probably do it for the show today.
This may be my last show. Because I just might die.
Final resting place. Folks, thank you for tuning in. We'll be back here again next week, 11 a.m. Eastern time. But for this episode, for Pat Gustafson, I'm Brandon Carney. Patriots are winning the Super Bowl.
My hair moved from my head to my chin. Bye.
And mine is in my